Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Now today, I think last time we have discussed about most of the things in PPP, public-private partnership. One of the important section in public and private partnership is the risk management. Because there are so many risks, how to manage, how to identify, what are the forecasting risk, how to mitigate risk. All these things are very important. Otherwise, in the middle of the project, there can be unforeseen incident or some if we are not going to take some action to mitigate the risk, I think some of the projects they'll have to close down because of the effect of risk involved in PPP. Therefore, it is very important to both parties, not only the public sector, the government side, and also the private sector, the people who are really implement the PPP projects. So that is very important to manage the risks. There are different ways of that. What are the risks and how it come up and how to solve that problem, how to mitigate those risks. Like that, there are so many things we will have to tackle. Okay, from here we will start. I will give you a small little bit of definition or introduction. Strong risk management, already I told you all. Strong risk management in PP allows both the public and the private sector to collaboratively manage. They will have to get together and discuss, and they will have to make arrangement how to mitigate those risks. Right. Risk in PPP relates to uncertain circumstances. You know that. Uncertain circumstances that affect the successful results. If not mitigated, there is a loss that will have to be paid by private sector as well as public sector. So therefore, you'll have to be very careful when you are managing the risk. What are the techniques? Now, from initially, we'll start with what are the techniques to identify PPP project risks? Risk identification, the process of determining what is the risk, how to manage it, and why we are going to mitigate it, or why we are going to manage it. So those three items are very important. And also the challenges. What are the potential challenges that you will have to face when you implement the PPP project? So for these things, there are several techniques and methodologies can be used to identify these risks. That is the techniques to identify. There are some risks, I told you all. Now, first thing, we will have to identify these risks. So to identify, what are the techniques that you will have to use? Okay. Number one, historical data analysis. Now you can go through and you can study the similar type of project. Now, if your project is the hospital project, so you'll have to study few things regarding hospital PPP all around the world. Then you can get some data. Cost overruns, but what are the cost overruns it has happened in the previous project? And also you'll have to see the unforeseen geological conditions. Sometimes there can be a rain, or there's some countries you get the winter season, which you cannot work sometimes. So like that, you will have to find out historical data. You'll have to analyze this historical data. Highway, in a highway, I have given in a highway project, so delays caused by regulatory approval sometimes Now you start the some country, they have started the project, but regulatory approval is not there. Or otherwise, there is no act on or guidelines on PPP, how to do it. So those are the problems. Then in that case, you'll have to think twice to how to avoid that situation. Actually, before that, we'll discuss later. Before that, all regulatory approvals has to be there, right? Number two, stakeholder. I have given an example. There are so many other data you can find out when you do the analysis. Stakeholder brainstorming sessions. So that is, I have taken as a number two item. Brainstorming session in anything, not only PPP project, starting the information technology project, right? Starting the some other construction project. The brainstorming with all the stakeholders. Stakeholders mean the public sector and not the private sector, public sector and the accounts analysis, engineers, legal experts, and other relevant experts all together, all get together and have a brainstorming sessions. Not only one, you can have several sessions to overcome all these things. So then on the brainstorm sessions, you can identify what are the potential risks because everybody is there. The engineer will say, no, that road is not, I think that road that you will get some problem in that road. I mean that you get the water in middle of that or something like that. He will explain the water level and geological expert will say the water level of that road, right? Then the soil testing engineer, he will say that this area is a little bit careful. You will have to have a more strength concrete or whatever it is. I can remember, I saw in the morning also, you have heard from the TV that somewhere in this this road, highway, they have already started. But near to that road, maybe about 10, 20 meters feet, they have done the this thing also, soil also. But there are somebody was telling that some Nidhane or something is there. So they'll have to dig the place and find out. The courts have given the order. And these days they are doing that. So because of that, I think they'll have to stop for some time that area working for the highway. So those are the risks that you will have to think. Number three, unforeseen events in project planning. Unforeseen, that is, you can't help it. I mean, in the beginning of the project planning, some risk you cannot see. Some events can happen. Those are unforeseen events. You couldn't judge it before, right? For example, for PPP energy project, I have taken an energy project. Scenarios might include fluctuations in energy prices with a change of governments. That is correct, no? In Sri Lanka, it's very common thing. Any government comes to the power, within the government also they change the prices. Any government comes with the power, other countries, they don't do that. In America, United States, I think for about 10 years back also, their electricity price is same. Fuel price might change, but the electricity charges are same. So, but in Sri Lanka, every month it will change now these days. When new government came here also, very recently, but 1 month back also, they have changed the prices. They have reduced, I think, electricity prices with the change of the government. So you can't that now, of course, in Sri Lanka, we know every month they are changing this. Or 6 months, every 6 months. They are going to change the energy prices. But if you have a energy project, PPP energy project, for them, the private partner will give the electricity for some price, like highway toll, the highway toll, electricity per unit, say 30 rupees. They agree with the government in a PPP agreement. But later on, the next government comes, they says, no, not 30 is too much, we'll give at 5 rupees. So then what will happen? The big loss for the private partner. Because we have studied last time, the users are paying sometimes. This type of project, the user have to pay. Technological breakdowns. In renewable energy projects, technological breakdowns are very common. So you will have to be very careful. You will have to think. Now I am going to train you all. If you are doing some PPP project, what are the things that you will have to think? You'll have to take into your mind. Sometimes it is more than these, what I am telling you all, because I am telling you only 2 hours, but it's not like that. When you do a further study, you can see there are so many other things also involved in this PPP risk analysis, right? Then we'll come to the subject expert's opinion. You will have to take the subject of experts in your that brainstorming sessions or meetings. So they will tell you all so many things because they know what are the things that has happened. It can be the local expert or a foreign expert, the subject expert in that area. Then sometimes it will helpful to avoid the individual's domain. Some people are there, they are trying to dominate the place. They will say, no, this is happening like this or something like that. They are trying to dominate. So then if the subject experts are there, then they will explain. Sometimes they will change the decision. Interviews and surveys, that is also very important with all stakeholders, including community members sometimes. Stakeholders are public, private, experts, lenders, the people who are giving the money, like that. There are so many people involved. In addition to that, community members, right? Then the environmental experts, they have different viewpoints. What are the potential risks can happen? So their knowledge also very important. Their commitment also very important in these interviews and surveys. You study. Now, for a local water supply program, every day, most of the time, this TV says, small type of water supply project, they say they have done the half the way and now no water. Because then they say there are so many reasons, right? So the public acceptance is very important. And also the environmental concerns, very important. And operational disruptions. When you start the thing, sometime back I can remember the in Singaraja Davia, near that area, they were trying to start a road, construct a road. But most of the community members, they objected, saying that they are trying to cut very important trees and all these things. So before do that, you will have to have a discussions with those people who live in that area. Risk checklist analysis. You know that this is a very common thing. If you want to do some work, if you want to plan something, you will have to prepare a checklist. First, I have for anything, if I want to go to the trip, I have my checklist. What are the things that I'll have to bring? How many days I am going to stay? Okay, for 3 days, I need these things. Sometimes if you are going in the morning and coming in the evening, some items no need. You can just forget it. So for example, the razor, you don't want. Morning before you go to the trip, you can have a sale. So in the night you are coming back, so no need to have a razor. So like that, you should have a checklist for everything. Now, if when you are doing the project also same, using checklist based on previous projects. Always try to based on previous similar projects. That is very important. Those are the lesson learned in that this type of project, especially those similar in scope. Whatever the project that you are going to do, you take similar project happen in locally in Sri Lanka or other countries, India, Vietnam, or any sector. Checklist help ensure common risks are not overlooked and act as foundation for the initial risk assessment. So it's very important. If you have a checklist, you don't miss some common risks. SWOT analysis. You don't want to explain the SWOT. What is SWOT? Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, I just explained that when it comes to the hospital project, strength, experienced private partner, advanced medical technology. Those are the strength, right? Not like those days. Now you get a lot of advanced medical technology. Now, I can remember, I get to know about 2-3 months back. Earlier, angiogram. If you want to do angiogram, they will insert some dye. After that, they will do a X-ray angiograms. But now no need. That is called, I can't remember the exact name. But anyway, there is a new technology. They will not send the dye into your body. You'll have to, like a normal X-ray, yes, a scanning angiogram test. You sit. You go to the machine like a X-ray. So they can take all the areas whether there is a block in your blood nose and all these things. They can find out whatever you want. Right. Then the weaknesses. High initial capital. Capital should be very high. So you'll have to find out what are the requirements, how to cover up those requirements. Whether you are going to loan from the World Bank or whether you are going to have a joint venture, 2-3 people, some banks. Like that, you'll have to find out. Opportunities. Growing population. Now, after you open the hospital, but you can see if you are giving a very good service, the people will come to your place. The growing population, a lot of people will used to come to this hospital. Now also it's happening. You have in your mind, if you have some problem, but is the hospital or private hospital you are going, whether it's Asiri, Central, or Lanka Hospital, right? You can decide. What are the threats? Potentially policy changes in healthcare regulations. Yeah, last few years, there were so many problems in healthcare, the hospital side, because regulations are sometimes they change the regulations, and there are so many things. I can't tell you one by one, but they have changed a lot of regulations. They have removed some regulations. So that you'll have to be very careful. Risk register. I think this is not the checklist. Huh? Checklist is that what are things that you want to do? Maintain a detailed, comprehensive list of all the risks identified in a register. Here, risk register. You will have to mention, you will have to document all the risks identified in a register, right? Because all these time that you had a meeting and all these things are there, no? You have identified a lot of risks. Now you'll have to document everything. So after that, you can prefer those things for your work. Risk register must set out the following: the nature of the risk. You'll have to write down in that register. Or if it's a digital register, name of each risk. And the priority, whether the risk is low, medium, or high. Priority basis of the risk. The potential effect of the risk, mitigation of risk, and mitigation responsibilities of all partners, coverage by insurers. Or some partner, whether that risk is going to, the risk responsibility is going to take by the government or a private partner, or sometimes you'll have to insure. Because some areas are there, you can't take the responsibility. You will have to insure now. For us also same, no? If you have a building, if you are going to rent out to the government or bank will ask you, we want to insure this building. So you'll have to insure it. Then it is easy. If something goes wrong, the insurance people will pay. We are coming down to that insurance, especially because it's a one subject here. Right. I have taken something from the World Bank PPP reference guide. PPP reference guide. Yeah. Or risk register of PPP airport project. In airport project, you will have to consider about the fluctuation of passengers, number of passengers. Cyber security threats. I think you can remember about 2-3 months back in the Patnaik also, they had some cyber security threats and they couldn't operate some planes. Some flights they'll have to cancel. And the environmental compliance also. Actually, in summary, there is no standard list of risks for any project. There are. Now, I have given here some risk to mitigate, how to identify those risks. But actually, it's all depend on the individual project. If it is a hospital project, the risk you'll have to face is different from the highway construction project or some other information system project. So there is no standard risks. These are the risk level, standard risk, no. But you can get some idea. Okay. Analysis of risks and applicable allocation strategies. What are the? After analyze this, after identify the risk, you will have to analyze and you will have to allocate to the most suitable party. So that means before I go to this presentation, I will explain you. Now say there is a risk. Say site risk in construction. So what is the risk? You'll have to identify whether the material problem or the government regulatory problem. There is no act or government regulations are not enough, not sufficient to cover that project. Something like that, you'll have to identify. say, for example, if there is no sufficient regulations for that, whose responsibility for that? The government responsibility, because the private partner can't work out can't establish the regulations. Regulations are done by government. So if there is any delay, there is a risk, delay risk. So that is the responsibilities with the government, the public partner. Like that, you identify, now I told you how to identify. After that, analyze the identified risk. Then you decide, you discuss with all the stakeholders and decide to whom this should go, the responsibility. The most suitable party, whether the private sector, or public sector, or the insurance company. Both parties can't take the risk, then you'll have to insure it. Right, okay. After identify the risk, they should be analyzed and allocated to the party best suited to manage them. The key is aligning each risk with the entity most capable of controlling, absorbing, or mitigating it effectively. Analysis of risk and risk allocation strategies. Now we will discuss what are the risks and how to find a responsible party for that. Now, say for example, site risk. I told you all these things are there: site conditions, then the way for a road, everything. There are some sites, but there is no road. So those are you'll have to identify, and you'll have to make some strategic action. So the public partner has to responsible that. Construction and technical risk. That, of course, private party's job. Private party is doing the construction, infrastructure construction, and the technical, everything they will have to look after. So that risk goes to the private partner. Demand risk may be shared or mitigated through mechanisms such as minimum revenue guarantee by government. Now, if there's a toll, so that is depend on the demand sometimes. Now I'm taking a very common this thing, the Kandy or Colombo Katnaik airport road. They say they have decided to take initially, I think 300 rupees or something like that. But if the passengers are low, the usage is low, then there is a risk, because the private partner cannot cover their cost plus their cost and the other capital and that expenditure. So therefore, they will have to increase it. So that is a risk. So who is going to do, how they are going to do, whether there should be some mechanism. That's why it says may be shared or mitigated through mechanism. Sometimes government will pay the balance, that gap payment. I don't know whether I have told you all, maybe in this one of this lecture that I will explain you all. So like that, you'll have to make some mechanism to do that. Commercial risk. That is especially the revenue. Revenues are not collected as expected. Then it's a risk. Political risk. There can be some political risk also, especially in Sri Lanka. No, not the Sri Lanka, all undeveloped countries. They change most of the things. It's not, I mean, that's what I say. I told you all that. I would say the tax setup in Sri Lanka. Earlier, if the person, government person or whether government or private person who is working, earlier it says if it is more than 200,000 per month, they will have to charge from 5% to 35% depending on the salary thresholds. But this government says, I think I can remember, the new government, before they come to the power, they says that threshold they will reduce from 200,000 earlier it was there. Then one government change into 200,000 threshold. Only persons who earn more than 200,000 only, they'll have to pay that pay tax. Now this government, the present government, before they come to the power, they were telling, I don't know how they are going to do it. It's a different issue. They were telling the stage, if they come to the power, they will reduce that threshold. No, they will increase that threshold, not 100,000. Earlier government, if it is more than 100,000, you have to pay tax. They say, no, we will increase that threshold to 100,000 to 200,000. So up to 200,000, they are not going to charge pay tax. Something like that. It's in America or in UK, Australia, 5% to 35% tax, and the slabs also there. Maybe in Australia about 15 years same, not 15 years. I think nearly about 30 years. It is same. Threshold, maybe, for example, you take more than $10,000. Okay, 10,000 to 12,000, 5%. 12,000 to 14,000, 15%. Like that, it will go up to 35%. If the person is getting a high salary, so they'll have to pay about 35% from the salary. That is also according to the slab. There is a formula. But I say it's not changing for about 30 years. But in Sri Lanka, I don't know at what time they are going to change it. So for the people who are coming for the private people who are coming for these projects, they will have to face it's a real risk for them. Now, say for a renewable now project badly. Negative political decisions affect the project badly, yes. Failure to renew approvals appropriately. That is one thing. Now, I heard that some of the liquor factories, liquor companies, they have not renewed the what do you call the approval. They have not given the approval for renew the license. Yeah, that is the better word. To renew the license, they are not given the approval. Now it happened to this, I think, some casino companies also. So you will have to, I mean, you should have a very good, strong, robust decision on these things. You should not change every day. I mean, the people who are doing that, it's a real problem. That is why those are the reasons why Sri Lanka has come to this, up to this level, right? Up to this level, why it has come down? Because those are the reasons. Those are some reasons. Unjustifiably harsh regulatory decisions, or in the extreme, yeah, sometimes if it happened that breach of contract, the private party will say you have breached the contract. So we will stop the project. You will have to pay us. Now, a very good example I have given somewhere here. Take Port City. port city started by I don't know the dates, I can't remember, but everybody is aware that Mr. Rajapaksa's regime, they have started this port city. When it comes to the Maitripala Sirisena's regime, they stopped it. Ranil Wickremesinghe was the prime minister. They stopped it, right? Then Chinese government put up a case, breach of contract. Then they went for the courts. Ultimately, what happened? Government has to pay $175 million as a fine penalty, and they'll have to start again. What a silly thing, right? This thing got delayed. In addition to maybe one or two persons' decision, harsh decisions, should not do that type of thing. Okay, operational risks. Sometimes a lot of operations risks are there. In services, of operating than expected. Sometimes operational risk. Force measures that everybody is aware, beyond your control. Say COVID. Those are sometimes most of the people, this risk, when it comes to the force majeure risk, they give it to the insurance people. They take an insurance against that. When you are running a vehicle, your car insurance, they give some risk, not all these things, but they risk coverage also they give. It's always better to take a insurance for that, because you don't know at what time what will happen. Another risk that cannot be transferred. Sometimes you can't transfer the responsibility to public sector, some risks. And also you can't transfer into the private sector also. So then that type of risk, responsibility, to whom it goes, that you'll have to decide. Because so many reasons are there, political change or whatever it is, right? Sometimes mainly political risk. So the public sector also, they don't want to take the risk. Private sector also say they don't want to take a risk. In that case, if it happens, sometimes you can go to the places like MIG, Investment Guarantee Agency. That agency give insurance for that type of things, especially the political risk insurance. Sometimes it's called political risk insurance. Help to mitigate that type of risk, right? Now, normal insurance companies also, they don't accept it. So there is a special place called Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, MIGA. Normally say MIGA. It's in common, but it's called MIGA. They give that insurance. Okay, change in legal or regulatory framework. It's very simple. Now change in general law or regulations, it will adversely affect the project. Now say, I told you all, such as changes in general corporate taxation, taxes. Now, how many taxes they have introduced now? Wealth tax, vehicle tax, if you have two houses, they are going to put the tax on the second house from next year. Like that, they will change. I don't know. What is this? It's very pathetic situation. So for the PPP, that you all are thinking about to manage the PPP, so you'll have to keep on your mind. These things can happen. That's what you are studying here. Actually, I was thinking that the in future you will understand most of the projects are PPP projects. If the country want to get some development, there are so many things that they'll have to do. I think about 95% you will have to do on PPP. Otherwise, where is the money? Government, they don't have money to start various projects. But without starting various projects, right, changing legal or regulatory framework, you just go through that, you can understand. Default risk. Sometimes private party cannot continue the project due to incapability or financial problem or a technical issues. They cannot continue. Then you'll have to go for the arbitration. Now, in the next lecture, we are talking about these type of things. It's called default risk. Economic and financial, you can understand. There's no money to continue. Asset ownership. Sometimes asset ownership also very important. Risk associated with ownership of the assets, including the risk that the technology become obsolete. Now, there are so many projects we have started about 10 years back. Now, say e-pension project handled by ICT. I was the procurement advisor at that time. We done it well and it operated well, but now the technology is obsolete. So you'll have to redo it again, right? It's a very costly thing, but can't help it. So that asset ownership is very carefully handled, right? Okay, now we'll come to the tariff levels. Somebody will have to decide on tariff levels, toll. From Colombo to Katunayaka, 300 rupees. I think this is, of course, 400 rupees. 400 rupees or 500 rupees. First 2 years, 250 rupees, like that. You'll have to decide before you start that PPP. Here, in this area, we are discussing use of financial models. What is the model? What is the financial model? Help to estimate project viability, calculate cost recovery, and tariff levels. How to recover your cost? Okay, first 5 years, 250 rupees. Say second 5 years, about say 500 rupees. Like that, you will have to determine how to recover your costs. And accordingly, that what is the tariff level? What is the toll, amount of toll that you'll have to charge, right? So this is the simple explanation I'm giving you all. But you can go through these things and see, then you get the so many ideas how to do it. So then we'll see what are the financial models. Now you get different financial models. Now when you go through that, you can understand what are the financial models, how you can use to recover your cost and also the making your tariff levels, amount of toll. Actually, cost recovery and tariff levels are going together. It's very collaborative, very connective, both together. Depending on the tariff levels, it's depend cost recovery part also. So that is very important. So we'll see what are the things that you can do. Cost recovery calculation. What I told you all is there. The financial model includes capital and operating expenses, debt servicing, maintenance cost, more details, and expected returns on investment. By factoring all costs, the model calculates the minimum revenue needed for cost recovery. Now see, what financial model is doing is they find out what is the toll, in simply say, what is the toll to recover cost. That is very simple. Tariff setting financial model. That model, tariff setting, can simulate various tariff levels and their impact on demand, right? Affordability and revenue. Tariff setting balances affordability and for users and returns for investors. For example, a toll road PPP would use a model to establish optimal toll rates, factoring in traffic projections, debt repayment, and maintenance costs. Considering all these things, this model, this financial model will decide what is the optimal toll road. They can't increase so much this thing. I mean, the very huge amount. But optimal toll rates, they will have to decide. Actually, that financial model, it will decide on that. I have taken an example. In this model, I have given a very simple example, right? I think this is, I have taken a water project. Yeah. PPP for water supply system. Now everybody is paying to water, no? There's a meter, they are paying, but if that is the government, water board. But you can do it in the private sector PPP under PPP project also. For that, if the private party is handling, there's an example, LECO, electricity. It's owned by the government, more shares, more than 50%. But there are some private people also involved in that. So they are, that company sell their electricity like that. Here, water board, of course, the government plays, but if you give it to the private party, PPP, it will be a public-private partnership project. So I have an example here, total, and I have taken from some USAID. Total annual cost is 10 million. Operation and maintenance, annual cost, altogether 10 million. Population served, 100,000 households, they will take water from this company. So then the tariff calculation, that financial model will give it here how to calculate the tariff. It's a very easy example I have taken here. Required revenue per household is 10 million. Per household divided by 100,000. And it will be about $100 per household annually. So monthly bill will be 100 divided by 12, 8.33 per household. Very simple. Simple example. But this is also one of the financial model. Sensitivity analysis. To test the model's robustness, sensitivity analysis is used. Evaluating how changes in variables like demand, interest rates, and cost inflation impact cost recovery and tariff. This analysis helps set realistic tariffs while accounting for uncertainties. It's a sensitivity means there are some uncertainties also because they are considering everything. Sensitivity analysis is used. Robustness, very strong. Evaluating how changes in variable like demand. There are so many variables. So for that, you'll have to use the very sensitive financial model. Then they will give you how to recover their cost and what is the tariff they are going to fix. Okay, break-even analysis. This determines the minimum level of demand or revenue needed to cover cost. Break-even point, you know that, right? This is important for setting tariffs that ensure cost recovery without relying heavily on public subsidies. Otherwise, now there are some break-even analyses. It should not, I mean, you'll have to be very careful. Otherwise, the government will have to subsidize that part. So it's a heavy problem for the heavy burden for the public sector. I mean, the government. So to balance everything, it's called the break-even analysis. The role of insurance risk mitigation. I told you all, sometimes some risk for the mitigation part to control the risk. Insurance are there. We just go through that, you can understand. Insurance plays a major role in mitigating risk in PPP by transferring specific risk from the project stakeholders to insurance providers. Project stakeholders are the public sector and the private sector. Sometimes that risk you change into the insurance provider. Effective insurance strategies enhance project security. So these are normal thing, right? When you get the insurance, it's a very strong point. The private sector like it. Project security, attract investment. That's what I say. Private people, they like it. Most of these things are handled by insurance companies. Then you can, it's a very attractive project. It will become a very attractive project for the investors and ensure financial stability throughout the project life cycle. Instrumenting to project success, you can understand. By transferring certain risks to insurers, the PPP project reduces its exposure to unpredictable losses. That is also correct, no? So we'll discuss what are the common insurance to cover these type of things. There are so many insurance. We'll go through one by one. What are the insurance to mitigate these risks? Construction insurance. At the time of construction, they can take a construction insurance. Sometimes it's called builder's risk or a builder's risk insurance. Sometimes it's called construction all risk. So because this one will have to get from the I mean that something happened. There is a damage or an accident or a losses during construction, then you can claim from the insurance company. Liability insurance, it's very common one. That is the coverage of third-party liabilities, including property damage, bodily injury. The people who are working there can happen bodily injury, or other liabilities arising from the project's operations. Liability insurance protects both the private and public partners from unforeseen legal claims. If there is no insurance for the people working there, workmen, bodily injured, or sometimes the fatal accident, so the people will go to the courts to claim. But private and public party both can relax from that claims if they have a liability insurance. Now, what are the operational risk insurance? Once operational, the PPP project can be insured against equipment failure, infrastructure damage, and operational disruptions. All these things you can insure. Mechanical, if you take this insurance, you can cover all these areas. As I told you all, you just always compare with the simple thing. But you'll have to study, read on not only that. If you are really want it, you'll have to refer so many books and all these things. Now, I mean, in the exam also, you'll have to do the assignments and all these things. You'll have to read and you'll have to improve your knowledge. You can't depend only on the lecture notes, because this is not a graduate exam, this is a MSc. So political and regulatory insurance, that is, now I told you all. Yeah, all these things I was telling you all. In that, the regulatory insurance. Now, say for example, regulatory changes. Now when government change, the regulations and all these things will change. I heard today also some paper says this government want to change regulations. What is it for what? Yes. That is, I think news. That is some Buddhist monk. If they do some wrong things, that the Mahanayaka Terror can take decision. But there are so many regulations every day. Every government will saying that they will change it, and they have changed it, but no solution after all. So they were telling to that two ministers, try to change that regulations and do something. These things are happening normally the regions with the volatile political climates. It's volatile. Yeah, always it's very weak. Anytime it can change. I have put that as an example, the Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka also. Sometimes I have put a question mark also, because I don't know whether in future we can avoid that situation. That's why I have put a question mark. Now, say for example, previous projects, Port City, as I told you all, Port City project. We'll have to pay the penalty also, and the delays, big loss to the country. And also light rail project. But the government, yes, Japanese government, I think their interest for the project loan is about 0.5% or something like that. Very low interest rate. And the period also, grace period also, it's about 40 years. After 40 years only, you'll have to start paying that with a very small interest rate. But because of the one government, one person decide not to do that, then everybody will have to stop it. Damn scene. I mean, it's very bad. I mean, how to explain those things? I mean, I can't. So now I heard they are going to start it again from the beginning. At least it's okay, but see the loss. One person decide. I don't know why they have decided that. Very low interest and Japanese project, and grace period is about 40 years. All these conditions are really good for the government, really good for our country. But they stopped it. What is the reason? I don't know. They have given a reason also. Of insurance, when you do the PPP, you can see what are the important point. Risk transfer, that is correct, no? I mean, not the public sector, either public sector or a private sector, they are not going to accept the risk. It will transfer to the insurance company. Financial protection also same. I have explained you all financial model and everything. Investor confidence is there. If you transfer into the insurance company, I told you all, you can attract the investors if you have a very good insurance. It's costly that you can't help it, but lot of partners will bid for it because they have some sort of confidence on it. And the compliance, you can do it without meets contractual or regulatory requirements for insurance coverage in PPP agreements. Solution options analysis for PPP. That is also an important thing. Solution options analysis. What is it? This is the process of evaluating different approaches to structuring and delivering a public-private partnership project. Solution options. Now, I will give you a very simple example, then you can get some idea. Okay, there is a project. Now, what is the type of PPP method you are going to decide? Whether it's BOO, BOO, we discussed last time, or a boot, or a deboot. Like that, your team will have to take a correct decision or a correct option. So that is what we are going to discuss in these things. Now say, this is the process of evaluating different approaches, right? To structuring the delivery in a public-private project. This analysis identifies and compares alternative models to ensure the project is economically viable. That has to be there, right? Value for money, all these things will have to. What are the main areas to discuss? Assessment of delivery models. Delivery model is the this one. I mean, are we going to be the traditional procurement? First, you have to decide. Are we going for the PPP, some boot or BOO or DBFO method? Or we don't do any of these things. The government will spend the money and government will do the traditional procurement. You know traditional procurement, right? Paper-based procurement. You have studied, and that is there. I mean, that is the traditional normal procurement. Whether you are going to do that or not. Find out what is the effective delivery method. Are we forgetting all these PPP projects, methods, and we go for a traditional method? Now we are doing that, no, where we don't have a PPP experts. I mean, now here also, I was telling to these people, these type of subjects, these are the main subjects actually. PPP, the things like PPP, not the optional subjects. Because now in our country, in future, very near future, all these projects should happen on PPP. So the people who are, there should be a people, knowledgeable people to handle it. What we are doing in these MSc courses and the diploma courses also, we are trying to give some sort of idea. I mean, I'm doing some information system students, the final year computer science students in the Colombo University. One in the procurement, IT procurement management, I have given one area for the PPP. That was started about 4 or 5 years back. About 10 years back, we didn't know anything about PPP. We knew, but we didn't we didn't think that we are going to apply in Sri Lanka. But now, today is very important because it's everything, any investment, this thing goes as PPP. So therefore, we need PPP expert everywhere, every department, and every ministry. To do that, some sort of idea should be there. Otherwise, how can you do that? You can become, or you can appoint as a procurement specialist in a department or a ministry. If the ministry is going to start with the PPP project, secretary will ask you, okay, what is the method that we are going to, have a meeting and discuss? If you don't know anything about that, how are you going to, at least how are you going to organize a meeting to do that? Now, after you go through all these things, you will have an idea. Okay, these are the stakeholders I'll have to take for a meeting. So these are the points I'll have to discuss. These are the insurance, then selection of financial model. All these things are there. Not only, as I told you all, within 2 hours, I can't explain everything. But you can study further if you are interested on this area. Right. Assessment delivery model, whether BOT or BOOT or traditional procurement, like that, you'll have to decide. The effective delivery method. Risk analysis and allocation. I told you all, right? Risk analysis and allocation. To whom to allocate? What are the analysis of risk? Identify key project risk and allocate them to the party best position to manage them, public, the private, or insurance, right? Those are things that you'll have to discuss. 3, very important thing, and you know everything. Value for money analysis. Ensure the selected option provides optimal public value. Optimal public value. Government එකට වඩාත්ම හොඳම වටිනාකමක් ගෙන දෙන එක. Through cost effectiveness, because users, citizens, cost effectiveness is very important. Highway එකක් හදලා වැඩක් නැහැනේ. Now, Colombo to Katnayak highway, if they charge 2,000 rupees, right? So no point. Nobody will go. Nobody will use. And performance efficiency. If it takes half an hour from Colombo to Katunayaka, they will not go. But nowadays, 10 to 15 minutes, you can go. Performance efficiency should be there. Otherwise, why should you pay additional amount? Stakeholder input. Engage with stakeholders to consider perspectives from government, private partners, and communities. That is very important. Stakeholder, they will have to discuss. With them, you'll have to discuss all these things. Recommendation. Choose the best solution that balances risk, cost, and project objectives while meeting public service needs to give a highly performed, cost-effective solution. Now we'll come to this area, economic valuation and value assessment. Economic valuation and value assessment. From the heading itself, you can understand what we are going to talk. It's economic valuation and assessment of value. This refers to evaluating PPP projects this refers to evaluating a PPP project's economic feasibility, impact on the society, and the environment. Effect on the environment also very important. While value assessment specifically assess the potential value a PPP structure can bring. If you start the PPP project, you'll have to think, you'll have to evaluate all the economic feasibility, impact on the society, the impact on the environment, and all these things you'll have to assess. That is called economic valuation. And you can, same name is not a different thing. Economic valuation and the value assessment. Economic valuation is a subjective thing, and the value assessment is a quantitative thing, qualitative thing, and the quantitative thing, assessments. Key components. One is cost-benefit analysis. You can understand when there's say cost-benefit analysis, you can straight away can understand. Determines whether the project's benefits, improved infrastructure, economic growth, and surpass the cost, construction, operation. The balance between cost and benefits. That's the cost-benefit analysis. Cost and the benefits. That's what I say, benefits and the costs. Whether it covers or not. Economic impact assessment. Evaluates broader impacts such as job creation, income generation, and regional development. All these things are there. Now, I think when you go through these things, you can understand. This is not an easy thing. You'll have to consider so many things if you are doing a PPP. Not only this, there are so many things. If I am lecturing, I can lecture you about 3 months. If you want to get the correct, if you want to, practically, if you want to start a PPP project, if somebody asks me, it will take 3 months to prepare and give them the project report. So that is why there are so many things you'll have to consider. Not only me, I can be a procurement advisor, but the engineer, other stakeholders, engineers, geological experts, and there are so many, doctors, depending on the project, nature of the project. So economic impact is how many jobs that they can give. What is the income that they can generate from this? And a regional development. That is very important. Singapore is very highly developed when you compare the other Asian countries. Why? 90% of their projects are PPP. They handled it. So that's their development. Value for money, that is everywhere we discuss. Affordability analysis ensures the project is financially sustainable without imposing excessive burdens on the government or users. I told you all, but there are some system also, systematic evaluation also there. Affordability analysis. I mean, that should be there. There cannot be any additional burdens to the government or a user. It's balanced. Everything should balance properly. These steps are critical for making informed decision about pursuing, structuring, and financing PPP projects. Yes, all these things are very important before you start the PPP project. Evaluation of PPP proposals. This is very important area. So I will tell you how to do it. I mean, mainly the initial steps are like normal procurement. Sometimes paper advertisement, issuing the RFP or ITB. Those are, I think you have already have that idea. The initial step on procurement, there's a common theme. But here, when it comes to the PPP, how are you going to evaluate? There are two types of PPP arrangements, right? Now, up to now, I have not discussed that matter. I have not mentioned to you all, because I was trying to mention you will get mixed up everywhere. That is why I never mentioned that names or there is something like that. I never told you all, never mentioned, because it's a special reasons. I will explain you now. There are two PPP proposals. There are two. One is, listen carefully, yeah? One is government plans some infrastructure project. Consider government plans some infrastructure project to do in this country. So then what you do is you put into your plan, government plan, and in the budget, right? Everywhere you mention that, and you start procurement, right? First you put a paper advertisement, and like that you do all the works. First steps are the normal general things, and after that I will tell you how to do that type of PPP evaluation. That is one area. Other area is government plan is there. The particular project is not in the plan, and also government never thought about that type of thing. Say, for example, one party think, okay, I will take some practical, this thing. I know that, and I was also involved some in that project. You know, sometime back there was a big disaster in where is called garbage problem at Meetottamulla. Yeah, Meetottamulla. Arapi kiki Meetottamulla Kunu Kanda Harimano kiki. It was happened, some people died also in that case. The fire started and something like that. There, after that happened, it's a big how in the country, you know. Then one party came, actually that party met me also to get some idea about this PPP, how to do PPP in Sri Lanka. They have done in so many countries, but they want to get the correct idea, correct knowledge about how to do PPP in Sri Lanka. So they came to meet me also for some advice. So one party came, okay, we will take this garbage free of charge, everything. Not a single cent used by public or a government. All are free. Only thing that we'll have to give the land to them. In any case, we'll have to give the land to any project, no? Land area we'll have to give for their site. They do the construction, infrastructure, everything. They transport that Meetottamulla, the garbage, this thing to garbage mountain to their site. Not immediately, but they will use to have everything, the transport, everything free. Government won't to spend any cent. So later, they have given the proposal to government. By that time, I don't know after that what happened, but I understand, I heard from social media or somewhere there in the paper, so I don't know, I can't remember now, sometime back now. So the people, they were, some person are involved and they were asking for a commission from that party. I don't know whether it's politician or the government officials or some other party, I don't know. But they were asking for a huge commission. Then they have gone. They said, no, we are not going to implement in Sri Lanka. We don't want to implement this project. So that is happened in these areas. That type of things also can happen. Now, I will ask you one question from you all, the participants. Tell me, now I told you, they are not going to charge anything from the government, all free of charge for the government, but they are collecting those garbage. For what? So how are they going to recover their cost and the capital expenditure? How are they going to cover up? Can somebody give me an answer? Quick answer. The garbage, they will take it over to their site, but I mean the government they don't want to pay any cent. So in that case, my question is, how they are going to recover their cost? Capital expenditure, infrastructure, all cost is involved, no? How are they going to do that? Can anybody answer me?
By recycling, sir?
Sorry? Say
By
it, please.
recycling that garbage?
Hello? Are you? Yeah, that is good
By
answer.
recycling?
Yeah. By recycling for what?
As to
After
produce
recycling.
energy.
Energy and also compost fertilizer. energy, compost fertilizer, that type of things also they can do it, right? In their proposal, they have mentioned all these things. Not only energy and the compost fertilizer. There are so many other things also involved. So like that, some people used to come, but unfortunately, we couldn't have that chance at that time. Anyway, that is, I don't know after that who did that, but I heard that something happened like this. Okay, it's a different story. A competitive bidding public proposal submitted by private partners, evaluate proposals, and right, okay, proposal beat the best. Right. Why I explained that is, so at that time we were not thinking about those proposals. So outside party came. That is the next type of next arrangement. It was not in the budget because our government, they don't know anything about that this garbage problem. It was not in the budget. It was not in their plan, government plan. But some party came as a new idea or innovative idea. Now we know that we can use for the energy, compost, fertilizer, and everything we know. But it's a new idea at that time to us, our country. එහෙම නුනා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට වකරන්නත් තිබ්බනේ. ඔච්චර කන්දක් ගොඩ ගැහෙනකන් ඉන්නේ නැතු මිනිස්සු මැරනකන් ඉන්නේ නැතු. ඒකට ගැන සොලියුෂන් එකක් එහෙම අපේ කාටවත් තිබුණේ නැහැ. So then they came. So that is the other type of PPP model. That's what I want to explain you all. Right. I will show it to you here. PP evaluation under compensation. Yeah, under it's okay. I'm not going to read all these things. Okay, it's okay. No, we'll discuss later. I will tell you what I explain now. PPP. One method is publicly initiated PPP. That is the first model. I told you all. It's in the government plan. Now, government plan, they know the government is aware that type of things. You can see hospital to Nigambu, General Hospital to Nigambu, or General Hospital to Matara. It's in the plan, it's in the budget, publicly initiated. So after that, they will call for quotations and select few bidders, then evaluate, and they do that part, but under PPP. But under PPP, there's another thing, privately initiated PPP. That's why I told you about this garbage problem. Private party, they themselves initiated that PPP. It's not in the government. There are so many things. Not only garbage problem, I have taken that garbage problem. It's very, what is this? But now say, American party, they want to come and install here the nuclear power research and development unit. Nuclear power research and development unit in Sri Lanka. We never thought about that type of thing. But some American company wants to have that type of project in Sri Lanka. The one thing is our political setup, that then the other party will say, America කවුද බහුජාතික සමාගමක් ඇවිල්ලා රට ගිල ගන්න හදනවා. So many people will strike and people will go for this opposing that proposal. Don't you know, there are so many things, right? But some company can say that we are going to have a research and development unit for you related to nuclear power energy, right? So it's a new idea, new innovative idea came from some party. Actually, it's not there. I mean, I was just thinking, right? That was it came to my mind. I won't explain you all. That is new idea, new innovative idea they have given to our country. Our government can accept it. They can go through the proposal. Oh my God, this is a good proposal. So we will accept it. As a PPP, we will accept it. That is the second type. I think now you understand. First type is the publicly initiated. Second is the privately initiated. Right, okay. We'll go to this again. Evaluation of right. Now, in general matters, when you do the evaluation of PPP proposals, you will have to first generally evaluate their experience, similar experience, that type of things. Then technical evaluation, you'll have to do technical part, design, technology, operation, and the financial evaluation is very important. Cost, price, everything you'll have to do. Then risk assessment, legal and compliance review, that's also you can read, understand. Value for money, as usual. Personal capabilities, right? Okay. The systematic process ensures transparency and fairness while selecting the, okay, you can read that, okay. Now we will come to the first and second methods. One is competitive bidding. That is this publicly initiated PPP. The second method is unsolicited proposals. Now, there is a lecture, right? Some other lecturer is handling that part. There is a lecture called unsolicited proposal. This is the type of PPP, is the unsolicited proposal. And when you say unsolicited, you can understand. Solicitation means that you are inviting them. Unsolicited means you are not inviting. They themselves independently come and ask us whether we can start this. Okay. Those things are there. You just go through that read. You can understand. If there is any problem, you can call me or you can mail me and ask. Mechanism for compensating of the original proponent. Yes. The first thing also, the first one, that you have publicly advertise and do the evaluation, and the evaluation points I have given you all: financial evaluation, price evaluation, like that, risk evaluation, all these things you can do, and you can select the person. But in the unsolicited proposals, they give the proposal. Okay. Now we'll come back to the nuclear research and development unit, right? We don't know. Government is not aware. But some party comes here to ask in that. You can't accept it straight away. Then this is a problem. It's a procurement problem. There is no competition because of there no transparency and because of there no fairness. So you will have to make it in some sort of you'll have to, according to the guideline, you'll have to make some arrangement. There, what you do is you put that proposal into the competition. Understand carefully. That proposal came. You cannot accept that proposal. It's a good proposal, but you cannot accept straight away, and you can't give the tender. I mean, you can't go the agreement with that party. There should be a transparency. There should be a fairness. Everything has to be there. Value for money. Therefore, you'll have to legalize that system. That is what they are going to do is, they take the proposal and they will put into the competitive position. That competitive position is, now they get the proposal and they advertise, or they go for a convert into the competitive procedure. Now say, after that, now take A, B, C, D. A is the original proponent. After putting into the papers this idea, other 4 parties, B, C, D, E, those parties come. Then you do the evaluation. Then you find the C is the most suitable, and price-wise also he is good, is better than original proponent. Original proponent means that the person who gave us the proposal. So you can give it to C. Some countries they do that. You can't give it to you can give it to C because C is the best. Proposal came from A, new proposal. But after advertising everything, the C is the best. But it's not fair. Fair by A. We are going to do it's not done because A is the person who gave a idea, proposal, everything. After putting the competition, C select. But it's not some countries they do that. But it's not the globally accepted method. Globally accepted methods are there, right? I am going to those methods now. One is best and final offer. Best and final offer. We call that compensation method. How to compensate that original proponent. The scenario is that I told you all. C, the bidder C, party C selected. For that, what we do is we will have to compensate the original proponent. That is the main thing. Some countries, they don't do that. But globally accepted methods are there. You have to compensate the original proponent. How are you going to compensate? One is best and final offer. How are you going to do that? Actually, BAFO method is for a 2-stage bidding. I don't know whether you have studied that method. Two stage. Mainly it comes for the information systems and all. Even in the construction also you get that. That method, that's a special method, right? There, we'll see how to compensate. Now say there's a project. They want to go on best and final offer method, the procurement method. Those are standard methods, right? New methods, but those are standard. Well accepted methods, those are. You want to go on best and final offer means that first you call for bidders. From those bidders, you select the qualified 3 short list or pre-qualified 3 or 4 people. Then for them, you send the proposal to those 3-4 people, 3-4 parties. But what you can do is the proponent, original proponent is there, no? Original proponent, you tell him, no, you don't want to bid in the first stage. You're already qualified. You come only on second stage proposal. That is one method. So you give some chance to him. Actually, the compensate means that chance. Some chance you give it to the original proponent. That is one. Other one is developer's fee. Right? developer's fee. In this method, what they do is you do the you put it the competition, but additionally you give some amount to the original proponent. You owe winning bidder, right? That you negotiate and settle it. In this method, the original proponent is reimbursed for some or all the USP development, unsolicited proposal development cost, either by the government or by winning bidder. USP means unsolicited proposal. USP development cost will be decided upfront by the government and the original proponent. First, you discuss with him, okay, we are going to do this way, and we are going to follow the developer's fee method in this procurement. Now, what is the amount that you want for your development process, for your proposal? If you are giving me the proposal, that what is the amount you want? So he will decide that you can decide with him. And that price, if he doesn't get that winning position, he will get the developer's fee. Okay. The next method is bid bonus. Bid bonus is, now all 5 people are there. They are put into the competition. All 5 are there. So we give marks to them, to evaluation. So we give marks to them to evaluation. Evaluation also there. Say 100 out of 100 marks, you give marks. You give 20 marks to the, initially you give 20 marks to original proponent. So he get additional 20 marks. So that is called bid bonus. There is also some compensation, some chance, no? He get 20 marks. Other people get, they don't get that chance. He will give, I mean, the original proponent is getting 20 marks additionally, or 10 marks, whatever it is, right? The next method is Swiss challenge. That is, Swiss challenge is, I'll go through then explain your developer's fee, then bid bonus. It's there, everything, now you can read. Swiss challenge. There, what you do is, now I'm not going to explain too much because you are going to have that lecture. But I will just say, under a Swiss challenge system, a competitive bidding procedure commences, yes. If the original proponent is unsuccessful, means there is a better offer by some other bidder in place. On competitive bidding, that man is not a successful bidder because of the price. So, because of the price mainly, not the proposal. No, proposal is there. His proposal, no. Price wise is very high, say very high. Then what they are going to do is, however, then the original proponent has the option or a chance. I say it's a chance of submitting a counter offer to match or beat the offer from the best bidder. Now say again, A, B, C, D, E. C is the successful bidder. His price is, say, $50 million. But the original proponent price is, say, $55 million. But we don't select the C. We give a chance to original proponent. Okay, can you come to 50? That's C's price. In normal procurement, you don't do that, no? In normal procurement, you don't do that. No, it's prohibited. You can't do it. Some people do. They don't know procurement. That's the problem. but you can't do it according to guidelines, right? But here, you do that. It's officially okay. Because we are compensate that original proponent. That is why we say, okay, we will give a chance, you come to the price reduction. Your price is, original price is 55, that C came, C's proposal is okay, good. C came for 50, whether you can come for 55. Whether you can come down for a 50. He might say, okay, yes, I will accept. Then the winning bidder is original proponent. So that's what it explains on all these things, right? So here, when you take these things, I will explain that also to you all. Bit today, they have taken, this is from some USA World Bank. They have taken 70 countries, and 7% of the 70 countries, that is about 5 countries, are handling this method, are using this best and final offer method. That is for 2 stage. Then developers fee, 36% of the countries, 36% of the countries, that is about 20. They have taken the model is 70 countries. 25 countries are following developers fee method. Then bid bonus 29%. Swiss challenge 21%. That means, according to their statistics, this came from World Bank. Number 1 place is developers fee. Number 2 is bid bonus. And number 3 is 21%. So that is the developers fee remains the most used mechanism, followed by bid bonus and Swiss challenge. Actually, our country also, they do Swiss challenge, because they didn't actually, we didn't know at that time. There are some other mechanism also there in the world. So they used to do this Swiss challenge. But in our country also, they are trying to do some other thing. Actually, when I was in the Procurement Commission, the cabinet decided, instead of Swiss challenge, to share some other, to develop some other method to use in our country. So I was right in that, but middle of the way that the government changed, that we couldn't do anything. Anyway, one fine day they will do something about that. So these methods are there. You go through that, you can understand. And last one, the institution's roles and responsibilities in PPP framework. We have the government, we have some organization to do the PPP, no? So that is called project management team. And you go through that, it's easy to understand. Government institutions. What is the stakeholders' response? What is the project management team responsibility? It's there. Project team has to be there, no, to implement PPP project. The project management team, what are the work that they'll have to do? Then government, what are the things, regulations, guidelines, preparation of guidelines for the PPP. And the private sector, they'll have to design, finance, that type of thing. And regulatory bodies, the taken action, if there is any problem like that, those things are there. Actually speaking, that guidelines part here, whether the procurement guidelines are there for PPP. I will ask that question, last question from you all. Is there a procurement guidelines in PPP? I don't think that somebody is there. It will take some time. Yes, some procurement guidelines are there, but it's very out of date, very old. But in Sri Lanka, we have, I will explain that also. In 1998, there was a guideline. This is a photo of that guideline. Guidelines on Government Tender Procedure Part 2, Private Sector Infrastructure Project 1998. And again, they have revised in 2007. That is the guideline we have at the moment. You just imagine, රටක් කොහොමද හැදෙන්නේ? 2007, it's about 20 years old, almost. 20 years old guideline we are using, but all the countries, they have changed all the systems, but we are still doing that. Then there was a guideline for PPP projects. 2019, it was prepared by NAPP, National Agency for Public-Private Partnership. They have put up that committee and they have done some work. And they send it to us also. I mean, the National Procurement Commission also to review and give our suggestions. Actually, at that time, the authorities with National Procurement Commission to issue guidelines, the constitutional authority. So they, after preparing that, they send it to us. So we have started. Actually, I was doing that part. But me and some other people in the National Procurement Commission, myself and some officers, we get together and we were trying to review that. And halfway we have done that also. It's in 2019 NPC, but we couldn't finish, and also not published, as I told you all. That NAPP, some other organization, they have prepared that change in these other procurement guidelines, but they couldn't finish. They send it to us. But when we were reviewing that, government change, so everything stopped. That is the position. Okay. Oh, right. We have another 2 minutes. Do you want to ask any? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.